Good evening. It is 5:03, and we are starting our special meeting and calling ourselves to order. This is a special meeting of the Kent School Board, which is held in public to comply with the Open Public Meetings Act. The purpose of this meeting is a work session to discuss the strategic plan status update. First, we will start with a roll call of our board members. If you are present, please indicate your presence by saying present. Director Song.
Elementary in Kent, Washington.
Director Song is absent. Director Clark.
Present.
Vice President Cook.
Present.
And I am present. I'm going to start with our first item and call upon Superintendent Bella.
Thank you, President Margell. Welcome to our board and our work session for today. I wanted just to take a moment to thank our board for the work that was done together in collaboration, not only with the board, but with the superintendent in terms of board superintendent governance, as we embarked upon our first priority, and that was to develop a strategic plan that was going to guide us for the next 5 years. The board took action in June of 2024, which we just completed our first year of implementation of a strategic plan. This last year, we're beginning we're in the middle of the second year. I share that in that the importance of working together collaboratively as we work on goals together. Tonight is really focused on Goal 4 and the work that's been done in our district as we look toward identifying the progress we're making in implementation of our strategic plan. So with that, and without further ado, I want to welcome Mr. Spencer Pan, our Senior Executive Director of Strategic Initiatives and Operations. Mr. Pan.
Thank you, Superintendent. And good evening, President Margell, members of the board, and Superintendent Vela. We're just excited to be able to be here. I think especially it's quite an undertaking to have a gathering of this size, especially in this space. You can tell we've really maximized the edges of this. And I don't want to spend a lot of time on my portion of this. We'll do some introductions and we'll set through the agenda, guide you through what that looks like tonight. But I do want to highlight a couple important pieces. It's important, I think, that we hear from our leaders, including our students who lead this work each and every day. And it's critical that we all see a part in action of where we play around achieving our strategic plan goals, right? And those aren't just these priority initiatives, even though we highlight them. I think these are tangible and structured so that we know they're the priority, we know that we're accountable for them, but it's also important that there's a lot of other things that we do that don't have the same visibility. So I think there's an encouragement as well that all of us, students or staff in our community, take these opportunities to elevate the work and practices that we're doing and really examine the connection of what we do to whether they're furthering and targeting our strategic plan goals, right? We're trying to work together in that spirit. So with that, I'm going to, I said I wasn't going to introduce everyone because we'll get through that and that would take a while, but I want to highlight two of my colleagues here who will guide us through the rest of this presentation. The first is Ms. Sarah Dumlau, who is our Director of Accountability and Strategy. And then the second sitting next to her is Allison Liao, our Project Specialist. So with that, I'm going to turn this over to Sarah.
Thank you, Spencer. Appreciate that. So I am excited to now walk us through our agenda for the evening. So Allison and I have the pleasure of updating the board and members of this group tonight on highlighting all the actions taken by our priority initiative teams over the last cycle. We are extremely excited for that. We are also extremely excited to welcome two priority initiative teams here to present some key work that's been actually taking place. And it's truly an honor to welcome our students, both from River Ridge Elementary and from Kent Ridge High School. So really our first main presentation tonight is around the Inclusive Spaces Priority Initiative. So they will walk you through the vision of that initiative, the research project they have done, the data metrics tool that they've created, and then the students are here to really share their experience with that project on the initiative. The second presentation, we are equally excited to welcome our Affinity-based Opportunities Priority Initiative team. So they will be here to also highlight progress they've made this cycle, as well as we have invited members from the Kent Educators of Color Network to support the work of this initiative, as well as they continue to recruit mentors and build partnerships to really promote and retain our BIPOC employees. One more thing for the board. I do want to let you know that we have actually carved in 2 different times tonight for questions, comments, or feedback that you would like to provide to any of the presenters this evening. So the first Q&A session will be right after the Inclusive Spaces presentation. We will spend about 10 to 15 minutes, time for you to answer and ask any questions that you may. At that time, I will then pass it back to Superintendent Vela for some next steps. Our students at that time are free to leave, just because, again, it's a school night tomorrow, and we want to make sure that they get home in time and they can then leave with their families. The other Q&A session will be at the very end, after our Affinity-based opportunities. We plan on having, again, some time after some final remarks from Superintendent Vela. So, yes, absolutely. Okay. So with that, we are going to go ahead and kick off the priority initiatives. So as mentioned, Allison Leao, our project specialist, will walk the board through every priority initiative and really highlight changes of each initiative. But before we get to that, I want to just go ahead and recenter us again around how each one of our priority initiatives aligns with each one of our strategic goals. So what will look familiar to the board is this slide was used in October when we did the update. And this slide really kind of reframed how all of our initiatives are really aligned to each one of our strategic goals. The thing we are excited about tonight is really kind of informing the board know that we have 3 initiatives that we are excited to tell you that we have now, one of them has now been completed with 2 brand new ones under goal 3. So strategic plan and accountability reporting. So in October, that was identified to the board as one that was in transition. So at that time, the project team had just initially launched that dashboard. The team has fully successfully implemented the dashboard, and they are ready to close the project. So we are very excited for them and with that work. We are now excited to announce 2 new priority initiatives. So the first one is sports ASB participation. So this initiative was chosen to create equity for all students. So they understand the importance of all the opportunities that our schools are providing through extracurricular and athletic opportunities. This is important because we really want to make sure that our students are fully aware of everything that really is available to them. The second new initiative under goal 3 is the school supplies availability. So within that, that mission of that initiative is really to make sure that there are core resources in the hands of every one of our students to start a successful school year. The reason why, again, it goes back to equity. It's really important that all students come to school ready to learn and to not have to think about what supplies they have or don't have. And that's really critical for our district's mission and aligns with our vision of equity, excellence, and community. So with that, I'm excited to pass this over to Allison Leal.
Thanks, Sarah. And happy Lunar New Year, everyone. So as Sarah mentioned, the format is familiar to you if you came to the last meeting. And during the last meeting, I spoke about all the priority initiatives and talked about what had the big milestone activities, what had been accomplished, what was being worked on, and what's coming down the pike. But this time around, I'm going to talk more about the mission statements. I'm going to read the mission statements for each of the priority initiatives. During the last meeting, there was a question about, the why. Like, why is this important? Why are we doing this? We know it is, but we want it to get reminded about how all of these things are important. So rereading the mission statements for all of these, and I'm going to take a deeper dive into the 2 new priority initiatives under Goal 3. So the first Goal 1 initiative, and as a reminder, Goal 1 is preparing students to be global citizens. The first priority initiative under high quality instruction is instructional leadership. The mission is to provide impactful professional development integrate evidence-based strategies, and ensure differentiated learning through MTSS, focus on interventions and enrichment to meet diverse student needs. Oh, and another note, sorry to interrupt myself, but if you do want to read the highlights, what's been accomplished, and all of the general updates, the deck will be available to you afterwards. The second initiative is K-12 literacy. Mission statement is to enhance students' literacy skills by equipping teachers with high-quality professional development, ensuring strong foundational and adolescent literacy instruction that fosters improved academic performance and a lifelong love of learning. Mathematics, thank you. To foster high-quality instruction and student proficiency in mathematics by implementing curriculum materials and providing teacher support, including professional development, standardized practices, and consistent routines. MTSS, to develop a shared vision, establish common definitions, articulate guiding principles, and identify best practices supported by aligned resources for all tiers of instruction. And the last Goal 1 initiative is STEM City of Kent. The mission is to increase student participation in experience-based learning opportunities, including field trips, internships, apprenticeships, and work-based learning, with a focus on enhancing digital and media literacy. Okay, moving to Goal 2, and as a reminder, Goal 2 is expanding student, family, and community partnerships. Student leadership opportunities. The mission of this initiative is to create a student voice toolkit that empowers students, schools, and teams to make informed, student-centered decisions. The second is evaluate mental health partnerships. The mission is to recommend sustained investments in proven mental health services that deliver the greatest positive impact on students' well-being and academic performance. And now we're moving to Goal 3, and this is the first new priority initiative. So this is school supply availability. And a reminder of Goal 3, building equitable systems and school environments. So this is the school supply availability initiative to ensure all students have essential resources for a successful school year. This involves defining the project. This initiative involves defining the project scope, securing funding, collaborating with the community, and selecting vendors. Kits will be created, sorted, and delivered by August 25th, 2025. Communication efforts will focus on coordinating with school leaders, assessing supply needs, and ensuring timely delivery. The mission of this is to provide all students with essential resources at the start of the school year, eliminating barriers to participation. Currently, core supply lists are being developed with vendor engagement underway. Spring 2025 plans include securing funding, finalizing vendor relationships, placing orders, and coordinating logistics. The second new initiative is sports and ASB activity participation. The annual ASB card and athletic participation report to OSPI tracks usage, including free and reduced lunch percentages. House Bill 1660 ensures equitable access by waiving fees for eligible low-income students and requiring consistent fee practices. Schools are tasked with keeping ASB card gaps below 15% and extracurricular participation gaps below 9%. Schools that do not meet this threshold work with staff and student leaders to produce tailored gap plans. Work will be done to create progress and impact reporting. The mission is to ensure equitable access to extracurricular activities by eliminating financial barriers, promoting inclusion, and supporting schools in achieving their equity goals. Currently, plans are underway to identify barriers, link participation to graduation rates. By September 2025, data will be analyzed, student leaders will be engaged, and plan effectiveness will be monitored. All right. And we are to our final goal here. We have affinity-based opportunities. The mission is to create affinity-based opportunities to promote BIPOC employee retention. And we have this group with us tonight to give a presentation. It's very exciting. And then our second group presenting tonight is Inclusive Spaces. And the mission is to develop a shared vision, common definitions, criteria, and strategies to qualify classrooms and schools as inclusive spaces. That's all I have.
Allison. Allison, thank you for that robust update. We very much appreciate your time. So now it is my absolute honor to now welcome our first presentation of the evening, which is our Inclusive Spaces Priority Initiative team. So I would like to now pass the microphone over to Ms. Rachel.
Thank you, Sarah. Hi, my name is Rachel Waldrop. I'm a data analyst on the research and evaluation team. And one of the priority initiatives for Goal 4 is to support the development of inclusive physical spaces that are accessible for students in a variety of ways. And essentially what we're striving to create is a dynamic system that empowers educators and students to create the physical spaces that they really want and need in order to succeed. This committee's been really intentional about ensuring the resources that are guiding the development of these spaces are both evidence-based and contextually relevant. And I'm really excited to share our work and process with you today. So first, I want to start by reintroducing who's on our committee and who's been really invested in this work. This initiative was spearheaded by the Director of Equity and Strategic Engagement, Simone Hamilton. Also from the district office, we have Sarah Dumlau, our Director of Accountability and Strategy. Gordon Cook, our Director of Facility Services, Maintenance, and Building Operations, and myself. And then from River Ridge Elementary, we have Quintera Middleton, who is a school psychologist, and Farah St. Jarna, who is a multilingual education teacher. We also want to acknowledge the staff and students as partners in this work, as their voice has been really integral in developing the resources. So our work is grounded in what's known as the Enriched Environments for Social Emotional Learning framework, and they outline how physical spaces really influence and augment social emotional learning. So they've outlined sensory, cognitive, motor, social, emotional, and critical thinking domains that need nurturing in order for students to really achieve their optimal well-being and performance. There's many initiatives across the district, I just want to acknowledge, that are directly targeting these student needs, and we see the role of physical spaces as supporting the extent to which that work can really make an impact. So to ensure that this framework is really culturally and contextually relevant to our community and students, in spring of 2024, we launched a photo voice project. So students and staff were sent disposable cameras, note cards, and instructions for identifying physical spaces that they felt were inclusive in those different domains, as well as any spaces that they felt weren't inclusive. And we are really proud of this method because we feel like the nature of visual communication really opened up participation across ages and grade levels. So since the summer of 2024, our committee has been analyzing all of the photos. All schools were given the opportunity to participate. So we've been looking through, seeing what these spaces look like, and also have been conducting site visits just to really ensure that student voices are being elevated. We're not making any assumptions. And especially in the case where like students weren't a part of the photo taking process, or like one person may have done all of the photo taking. So really trying to ensure representation throughout this process. So in our time together today, we really want you to just experience a little bit of what this work has been like. It's been really powerful for us to hear from students and see these faces, so we're just going to give you a little taste of that today. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Quintera to talk about our dashboard analysis and then how that led to site visits.
Thank you, Rachel. Okay, so once we got those kits back, the first thing we did was develop those photos. And Rachel actually encoded all of the information and put it into a dashboard so that we could look at the information more globally. And then that way we could just see if there were any trends. And then we also saw just, the differences in the photo takers and then what types of inclusivity came up. So this is a screenshot from the dashboard. This is just one of the ways we looked at it. So we have all of the inclusivity domains across the top, and then we have the photo takers on the side. And one thing we noted was that students were the only ones to identify spaces that were not inclusive. The adult photo takers did not identify any not inclusive spaces. And then another thing we noted was that at the elementary level, there were more adult photo takers than student photo takers. We saw more of that at the secondary levels. And so this is another way we looked at the dashboard. So we have the inclusivity domains across the top and then the different levels on the side. And one thing we noted was that elementary overwhelmingly identified so many social spaces, and those numbers decreased as we went to the secondary levels. So again, this is just a way for us to look at the information very globally to see if there are any overall themes or like emergent trends for us to further look into. But we also looked at the data photo by photo. So we had accompanying comments for some of the photos, and then we looked at what people indicated as if it was inclusive or not in what domain. So I will turn it over to Farah to talk a little bit more about that part of the process.
Thank you, Quinn. So it was really exciting to be able to get these photos back from schools and see all of the participation in our district and community. We did end up with a lot of questions as we looked through it. Who took the photos? When there were no comments, what were their thoughts and intentions? So to hear more of that, we started visiting both participating schools that we received photos back from and also non-participating schools. For example, at a middle school, the principal had asked students about their inclusive spaces and how it made them feel. And at this middle school, a math classroom that wasn't originally included came up repeatedly. So we visited it and observed it. In this classroom, the students pointed out spaces that incorporated things like ambient lighting and encouraging messages on the wall. After hearing students' perspectives, we incorporated these spaces and their comments into our data set, shaping our resource guide based on their feedback. So here we can see a photo of the classroom. And here we can see the ambient lighting and some encouraging messages. Things like this that set the mood were a lot of what students pointed out to us. So with this in mind, instead of us talking more about student voice, we wanted you to experience it firsthand. And with us today, we have students from River Ridge and Kent Ridge who are going to highlight a few inclusive spaces and share what it means to them.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for inviting us here. My name is Sophia. I'm the Student Council President.
I'm Layla, and I'm the Vice President of Student Council.
I'm Jonna, and I'm Jonna, and I'm Head of Representative.
I'm Deborah, and I'm Events Coordinator.
I'm Kiki, and I'm the Treasurer.
I'm Natalia, and I'm the News Publisher.
Hi, my name is Synthesia, and I'm the News Producer.
Hi, I'm Callie, and I'm the Student Council Secretary. First, let's talk about our entrance. We think this space is social and sensory. It's a wide, spacious walkway that connects the cafeteria, specialists, and class hallways. It also links our upper and lower floors, as well as the kindergarten and pre-K wing. One thing that stands out is the student artwork on the walls, which shows creativity and a sense of belonging. From this area, you can also enjoy beautiful views of our outside playfield and Mount Rainier.
Next, let's take a look at the hallway between wings. We said this space is social and emotional. Here we have even more student artwork on display. We also have monitors that show pictures of our school. Mount Rainier, our school motto, and slides from ASB. These slides share announcements, events, and activities happening at our school.
Next, we have the flex area. We put cognitive and socials. They are open spaces by the windows in our hallways where we can work and socialize. Many of the spaces have amazing views of the playfield and Mount Rainiers. It's a great place to think, connect with others.
Next, we have the library, which is a quiet and safe environment. We said this space is sensory and cognitive. It's filled with comfortable and creative seating. We have decorations on the walls and shelves and books that celebrate different cultures. There are also fun activities and time to reflect and think for yourself.
One of our favorite spots is the grass and play field outside. We categorize these spaces as sensory, motor, social, and emotional. It's a place where we can enjoy fresh air, hang out with friends, and do what we like. It's perfect for self-care, playing sports, and connecting with students from different grades.
Now let's talk about our gym. We said the space is modern and not inclusive. We love learning new sports, playing with friends, and exercising, but the gym can feel too small for multiple classes. Sometimes it's noisy, and kids might get hurt or even break their glasses. On the bright side, we still get to move and have fun with our classmates.
Next, we have the cafeteria, is where we eat breakfast and lunch. This space is both social and not inclusive. It's a social space, but it's also very loud and uncomfortable for some students. Well, the fruits and vegetables are good, but some of the main food options couldn't be better. Still, it's a space where we all come together as a school.
One of our favorite places we visited is Mrs. Piper's class. We think it is both cognitive and emotional. Her room feels like a family. There are shoutouts on the walls, class jobs, and our artwork is displayed to make us proud. The calming lights and decorations make everyone feel included and valued.
Another classroom we want to share is Miss Sarmiento's class. This space is also cognitive and emotional. Her room feels peaceful because she always keeps the overhead lights off. She teaches us math, but also how to treat each other with respect and kindness. When things feel hard, she encourages us to keep trying, and she helps us learn how to support each other.
The last place we want to share is Ms. Farah's office. This is also where we have our ASB meetings. We said this space is cognitive, emotional, and critical thinking. This space is quiet, safe, and calming. It can be a restful or social space and is always a space for reflection. It's decorated with lights and designs that make it feel comfortable. It's also a place where we think critically. As school leaders and representatives, it's our job to make sure students feel included. We work with our ASB officers and encourage each other. It's a special place where we focus on supporting and building up our school.
Thank you, everyone. So as the ASB advisor and a member of the Strategic Planning Committee, this project has been incredibly unique and valuable. As an elementary school multilingual teacher, it has shifted my perspective on learning spaces, how I can see them as a teacher versus how the students I work with actually experience and use them. It's challenged me to think beyond how spaces are intended for learning from our insights and focus on how they function in everyday lives for the students from their perspective. Most importantly, it has reinforced the importance of including student voice in shaping our environments and that students are fully committed to the work it takes to share their voice. So thank you to all of the students here that we're going to hear from for sharing their insights and helping us rethink what inclusion looks like.
All right, River Ridge, thank you so much. So now it is my pleasure to introduce Kent Ridge High School.
Hi, I'm Hope. My name's Harper.
Hi guys, my name is Janice.
I'm Eden.
Hi, I'm Kyle.
Okay, so to start us out today, I'm going to talk a little bit about, is it because there's two mics on? Yeah. What it was like to come in new to the district. So I didn't really know anyone, but I did have the benefit of speaking English and seeing English spoken all around me. Something that's going to be highlighted through this presentation is the presence of art in our school. Art is the universal language that any student can connect with, no matter what they speak at home or what they don't speak at school. So anything that's shown in the presentation today are projects that I personally have seen 3 years in the leadership class go from an idea to a reality. And with that, I'd like to start by thanking those of the board members who have continued to support and encourage this community growth and giving us opportunities to foster an inclusive spirit through artwork and other opportunities at school.
Our first space that we're going to talk about is the courtyard. The courtyard features a volleyball net, basketball hoops, tables, and a place that students can go outside and get some fresh air. And we can all confirm that you are never too old for recess. So when you get to see people outside before school, during lunches, after school, playing volleyball, it's really cool to see kids make friends through sports, and having access to these kind of activities encourages people to join sports. And it's just a place to foster fun and community in the school.
So our next inclusive space is the library. So some things that are highlighted in the photo. There's a maker's corner, which is basically a craft area with yarn, crochet hooks, etc., etc. So people who enjoy crafts can also go to the library and participate in those. One thing that, because the library did get transformed, it was definitely not this cool before, so we added couches. It's a comfortable area to like rest and relax when you have a time to go to the library, like at lunches. There's chess, board games, which also fosters a place where people can talk to each other, people can have fun with one another. There's also, as you can see, the rainbow rug. That is the preschool section. Preschoolers, our little chargers, can come and get a book read to them, which is really fun to see. And there's a project section, which is the far right photo, where you can work on projects. There's a lot of resources in the library, not just books. There's scissors, laptops, all of that stuff. And one thing that's specifically highlighted in our library is our mural, our land acknowledgement mural. So our school individually reached out to each Native student and asked for a design. So what they kind of came up with was Virginia Cross, who is an elder of the Muckleshoot tribe, to be showcased on the mural. And it kind of just is an everyday reminder that there's more to our community than just our school. And yeah.
Hi, I'm Kyle. On your screen, you'll see our cafeteria mural. So in the making of the mural, we outsourced 2 artists, a Latinx and a Black artist, and we coordinated along with a diverse student group that's representative of the KR population in racial diversity. And we had the kids choose what was on the mural, and the kids chose to have the mural representative of the food from each of their representative cultures. Also on the mural are school lunch foods. You might be able to see pepperoni pizza and chicken and waffles because we also felt that was very vital to our community. Up next, you'll see the KR Cares Closet. This is a leadership project that just started up this year. Basically, we provide academic items like pencils, erasers, rulers, anything that you may need, along with hygiene products. It may be some people don't have bars of soap at home, or even deodorant alongside feminine products. Anyone can donate to the KR Cares Closet, whether it be teachers, students, etc. But it usually stays pretty stocked, so the leadership team never really has to fill it up.
Our next inclusive space is a hallway mural that is in our special education wing. So previously, this area was very, what we like to call sterile, very white walls, a little bit scary. So this is the area where our most, I'm missing the word. What's the word? Yeah, our most medically fragile chargers stay pretty much throughout the day. So this mural was a really amazing thing where we reached out to an artist who is hard of hearing to come and do this mural for us. We also taught an art class to our special chargers, and you'll see their art featured in this. The flowers, there's also a flying pig back there. These are things that they created and were transposed into the mural. Those chalkboard flowers, like I said, they're chalkboard, and so students can continue to showcase their art daily on those. This is super important because it gives an opportunity for those who are often overlooked in a school environment to have something that showcases and represents them.
Okay, hi guys, I'm Janice, and I'm going to be talking a little bit more about 3 very special places that our ASB has been working on. The first one is the Zen Garden, and prior to the last school year, it has been unused for over 25 years. The doors were all locked. The ground, you couldn't even see the ground. It was like mold covering everywhere. And we really helped to transform that from just a very dilapidated garden into somewhere that a lot of students hang out during lunch times. We planted a lot of seasonal flowers, and we added some benches and tables, and it's a place where people can go again during lunch or after school to just sit down with their friends, hang out, and have a lot of fun. And then the Hall of Fame is a hallway in our school. A lot of people pass it, and we chose this place because we wanted to honor our Charger athletes. So every season we add photos from sports teams, and then we also have die cuts with all of our athlete names just because we want to recognize each athlete for everything that they do for our school. And then the last place that I wanted to talk about is our spirit stable. And everyone here from Kent Ridge is representing a piece of merchandise from the spirit stable. And basically this is a place where students work to make clothing that really represents our Charger spirit and works to cultivate our community. So for example, we make cohesive team gear and uniforms. We also make weekly athlete of the week shirts to recognize our athletes. We also give clothes to kids who might only have one outfit at home, or who might need a hoodie or a shirt or something for school. And we also, this year, we're introducing shirts that represent different classes, so class of 2025 and so on. And it is a really special place because we get to see students go to buy shirts for spirit days, and we get to see people really show their school spirit from the spirit stable. And then here are more pictures of the Hall of Fame.
All right, I think we all grow up hearing about the importance of first impressions. And when you drive by Kent Ridge High School, you get a first impression, and it's one of, So there's a rumor when you go to Kent Ridge that it was built by the same person who builds prisons. That's the common freshman rumor. But there's, inside our school, there's obviously a lot of culture and spirit and love that goes into the school, and we'd really like the outside to reflect that. There's no clear entrance to the school. There's no signage or markings, which not only is taking away from the possible school spirit we could have for the school, but it's also a safety concern. This year we had a lockdown, and when authorities came to the school, they didn't know where to go. They couldn't get into the school because there's no marked entrance where the main office is. So there's that safety concern. We just want like our school to reflect how much we care about it from the outside. There is so much love and so much spirit that goes into this school, and to have it look like a place where students want to come every day and where they're proud to be a Charger is just so important to us. So when talking about funds for, also, if you look at that picture right there, that grassy area currently is a mud pit. There are a few of us here who have slipped and fallen and had unfortunate experiences with mud in that area. So it's safety, and it's the fact that kids look at this place and they're like, it's not a place where you are excited to be. And we really want the school to be somewhere that is a safe place, that cultivates community, and is an exciting place, happy place to be. So when talking about funds for safety and beautification, we just want Kent Ridge to definitely be thought of. And yeah, so that's basically it. We want to say thank you to the board members that are here today, and for any board members that weren't able to make it or had to call in, we hope to see you soon or next time. So yeah.
So thank you, Kent Ridge High School. And really thank you to every single student that is here today. We absolutely appreciate your participation with this Priority Initiative project and coming here to find your courage to speak to the board and our superintendent about your experience. It is absolutely vital that we have student voice with everything that we are doing. So I'm thankful that we had a platform here to share, to present to you, our students. And with that, I would actually love to open up the floor for questions or comments from the board.
Thank you very much. Before I do, I just would like to take a moment to thank our students for presenting today. You really do represent, one, why we do all of what we do, and I'm just really the best of Kent School District. I absolutely adored your presentations and learned a ton. I also want to take a moment and say thank you to the parents. Good job, parents. This is a Wednesday day that we have no school, and that you still showed up here today is really cool. And I'm so proud to have you be who we work for every day. So thank you very much for representing our school district so proudly. I will start with Director Cook with a question that he has. I will try to do a round robin, so one question per board member, please.
All right. I hope you can hear me. I switched over to my headset here.
We can.
But okay, good. So I didn't really have any questions. I was really impressed with the presentation, and the amount of work that the students have put into this is just fascinating. I wish we had this sort of thing when I was a kid, honestly. But I just want to say thank you so much for bringing all of this here, and that all the work you're doing. And like, again, kudos to the parents. Like, I can't believe how much involvement there had to be for this. So thank you very much. That's all I had.
Thank you, Vice President Cook. Director Clark?
Actually, Farrah, I'll direct it to you, and then you can use one of the students to play off against. It's the flex area. And the question becomes, for me, in the nature of that area, is that utilized only like during recess, or is it a breakout area for classes, or does it get used at different times for different purposes?
Thank you for the question. Yeah, as you said, it is a space used for different purposes at different times. We have a large school of about 730 plus students, and sort of 3 different wings, with the pre-K and kindergarten in one wing, and then the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd grade in one wing, and 4th and 5th, and some music and support specialists in another wing. So depending on the wing, the flex area serves a purpose in relation to those classrooms. So in some of our smaller areas, there could be time during recess where specialists take students out. And in some of the larger areas, maybe they're more inclined towards academics, or maybe on a Friday before break, art projects. On a daily schedule, they're typically used for our paras running What I Need groups. And so they'll pull small groups along with all the teachers. Teachers will have up to like 15 or 16 students, and pairs will have about 6, and they'll kind of be spread out around our flex areas. So it does serve a multiple uses and purposes, and as a new building, to me, it was really exciting to be able to go through the hallways when we first opened and see all of the classrooms, but also these areas with windows and natural lighting that we can just use our own creativity to purpose for whatever we need to. Would anyone on our student council like to speak to your experience of the flex space?
That's okay. We're good.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I've had the opportunity to visit River Ridge with the superintendent and then also with Representative Stearns as one of the most beautiful schools that we have, I'm going to say, in our district. And something that was pointed out that I heard is the entrance. And I didn't really think about it while I was there, but thank you for pointing this out. It really does set a tone of welcoming to the entire school, and it kind of opens up all of the different possibilities of where you can go to. So I really liked that and heard that from the presentation. I also heard a lot about lighting, and something I hadn't really honestly thought about all that much, and the difference that lighting made in the classroom, the natural lighting, and so I thought that was interesting. One of the things that my question is about that is, not about lighting, talking about classrooms and the difference of like the messages on the walls and things like that. I know that we have gifted teachers in a lot of different areas, and I'm guessing that there are some that come in that decorating a classroom is not their specialty, let's say. Any thoughts about that, or, can you, what does that look like for a teacher that, it's brand new to the school, and, how do you make that a welcoming space when that's your first year?
Is that a question for me or for
Whomever
student
would like to
council?
answer it.
Does anyone have any thoughts on that?
About the, what you said, in the classrooms, when, it's all of the, shout outs or, class jobs, it feels like you want to be there. It's not like you don't, but you want to be.
That makes sense.
I'm gonna add on to Sophia, and it does make us feel really comfortable, and it makes us feel really safe. And if there was a new student, I really hope that they would be really comfortable there.
Yeah, how cool for a new student to have their name part of the whole group really quickly. I love that.
I feel confident sometimes when I just want to know how people feel when they're in a safe place. And for me, I feel confident. I don't worry with nothing, and the lights that you say is just making me calm. And yeah.
That's awesome.
I think for me, it's the lightings. What I feel in the classroom is pretty calm and safe in there because the lightings are calming to me, and our artwork is shown on the wall, so other people can see how talented we are, and also the words are pretty encouraging.
I'd like to add on to that, if
Yeah.
you don't mind.
Let's go, Hope.
Of course, the lighting is awesome. We love our teachers who have great lighting. But to answer your question about new teachers who might not understand what the students want or need, at Kent Ridge, we have tried to include teachers in things such as holiday door decorating, which gives them a really amazing opportunity to make their classroom a little bit more festive. So I could talk about it, but Janice, do you want to explain a little bit more about that? Janice led our holiday door decorating competition this year.
Yeah, so every year at Kent Ridge, our teachers decorate their doors for the holidays, and it allows students to vote for different categories like most funny door, most colorful door, most festive door. And a lot of the times teachers ask their students to help them decorate the doors, which is also a very great way to have students get involved and helping out and stuff. And it's something that I feel like, and we all feel like, really helps connect like students and teachers and makes the school a lot more inclusive, especially during the holiday season.
So for teachers who might not have these things on their own when they first come in at the beginning of the school year, we definitely try to give them opportunities for them to showcase spirit and decorations, and we do supply like butcher paper and other things that you can use to decorate the doors with. So that's one way that we help our teachers make their classrooms feel more inclusive if they don't decorate them on their own.
Nice, I love it.
And I was just going to say, lastly, from a systems perspective, part of what we're striving to do is create some resource like a Teams channel or something so that teachers and staff across the district have access, so that teachers could upload pictures of their spaces. They can notate like what resources or information that they use to generate those spaces, so that there's knowledge sharing, so that even if you're not the most creative person, which I don't consider myself to be very creative, I have a resource that I can go to and find inspiration. If maybe I'm not getting that at my school, I can see that across the school. So we're really trying to bring that together.
Also, if there's like a new teacher, like at our school, some students will welcome them, like I think really make them really comfortable, and I think some students will probably make something like maybe like a card for like them.
I love that. Nice. What I hear from Kent Ridge and also reflected in our River Ridge students is that that sense of belonging really comes by seeing yourself reflected in the area around you, and seeing that both on the murals, seeing that in your artwork that's put up on the wall, your name on the jobs board, right? And however that looks like, I absolutely love that. I also think it's interesting pointed out, you're right, I went to Kent Ridge. There is no front door. There isn't. That's really weird. And I don't know why I've never thought about that. But I do have to take just a quick shout out. The new entrance into the foyer in front of the gym, so cool. Love the colors. And it is interesting that we kind of have, those entrances on the side, that it does make it ambiguous about where to enter in the middle on that one. Last thing I just want to put towards Kent Ridge, the spirit is interesting. Just looking around, just traveling to different cities and traveling, looking at colleges recently, there's something that came out when you're visiting somewhere is when people are wearing logo wear and wearing their school on their shirt, and you just see whole cities where everybody's wearing their team colors, and you can see a sense of spirit that comes with that. And I love that you have the spirit stable and find ways to be able to inclusively get that Kent Ridge spirit out in T-shirts and hoodies. So thank you very much. Those were my questions. I will circle back to,
I just really have a quick question. Raise your hand if you are going to Mill Creek when you go to middle school. Yeah! Welcome.
We have some very excited teachers that are waiting for you guys to be there, so it's fun. I'm going to go back to Director Cook and see if there was a last question.
No, I'm good. I don't have any other questions. Thank you very much. I appreciate everything you guys did.
Awesome. Director Clark?
Yeah, and Harper, forgive me, but I taught at Kent Ridge at one time. And it's the age of the building and its evolution that has bothered me in terms of signage, because number one, obviously the freshman wing was not there, and that was all portables. Parking was forever a problem, that thing. And if you're interested in spring sports and want to find out how to get to the fields, you have to hike. So the reason I bring that up is, of course, the trees grew up, and that cut into that visual alignment, because the 208th side of the building is the long side. But when I think of flows of traffic in a school day, it's obviously the bus zone is very heavily used, and for adults, the administrative end is kind of sealed off there. But in the evening, the massiveness of traffic going back into the foyer and the theater side and so forth, that clearly needs to get signage that is directed with lighting. I acknowledge that. But my question is, the length of the building along 208, which is the picture that you had up there, do you guys think you would be better served with a central projection of what areas you should get to, or should it be spread out and markers in particular, band room this way, that sort of thing? Any thoughts on that?
Yes, thank you for your question. As for the signage of where to go, we have breezeways. As you've taught at Kent Ridge, you've seen them, but they're a main way that you get to different parts of the school. And so having signage up in and outside the breezeway that are very visible from the outside, especially that bus loop, would be very helpful. I also think that the parking lot, since you're kind of behind the freshman building, the east wing, figuring out which way to go if you're new to the building or coming to see a musical or coming and watching a basketball game, knowing where to go and how to get there would be really helpful. Along with, I'm going to really quickly go back to beautification. If we could have something like plants or benches, or circular planters or something.
You mean not the dumpster?
Yeah, not that.
Yeah.
And turf instead of grass in that one area, something like that. That just makes sense.
Signage and in those areas just to direct. We have so many amazing things happening at Kent Ridge. It would be good to know where to go to find them.
Thank you.
Thank you. I wanted to first invite all of our students to please come back. We love your voices. There is nothing more important to us than hearing from our students directly. And I promise you, really nice. We like to hear. Board meetings are a little weird. Nobody really responds back to you, so you kind of talk to us. It's not as fun as this, so I'm glad you're here today. But come and tell us your thoughts. We want to hear how we're doing. And so we encourage you and your fellow students to come and talk to our board meetings anytime, and parents too, of course. And just wanted to thank all of you for your time here today. I know a lot of work goes into this preparation, and it is very much appreciated. If we could take just a moment to take a picture. I'm getting a thumbs up.
Yes. Before, President Margell, if I can just take 1 minute to thank our students and our staff and parents for, again, also the great presentation. I wanted just to share with you that we tried to create this environment in the boardroom as comfortable as possible so that you felt safe and you felt like you could share your ideas, and so your voice was heard. So we certainly heard that today from you first. And the other one I wanted to make sure that you know is that the board, when I mentioned earlier that they adopted goals, those are these strategic plan goals. They specifically adopted student voice and inclusive spaces as one of their goals. And the board and the superintendent, myself, actually work hard to listen to the voices so that we can go back and take these ideas and say, hey, what are some things we can do together to make those things come true? So that's how we set goals together. That's how we work collaboratively and make sure that we're including everybody in creating the very best school district that we have. So thank you for that. Before we transition into our next presentation, want to see if we can take a picture. And so if you'll work with us here, students, if we're going to be on that side of the room right here, and then board members, if you just going to fill in the sides, that would be wonderful. Take a quick picture, and we'll get started with our next presentation. Thank you.
There's in the front door. How about we have to be
Okay, outside here, we should take a picture with them and see if they're, that would be great. Not for
Yeah, I went back around.
Also getting a picture outside of it.
Oh, yeah.
So you're in it?
This is for the school.
Okay.
Yeah.
Count three. 1, 2, 3. Take a couple more. 1, 2, 3. This one you can say cheese if you want. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Thank you guys for inviting us.
Thank you.
get started. I know it is hard not to just want to talk to all of our educators and our students because they're amazing. So, but we have a second half of our presentation, which is also amazing. So let's reconvene us back. And so I will again turn it back over to Superintendent Bella.
Thank you, President Markell. That was so energizing and exciting. I guess I know how you feel. So I'd like to turn it back over to Mr. Pan.
All right, and as we noted, we're equally excited about the last but definitely not least portion of our day this evening, and I'm going to turn it over to our team who's going to go over this presentation. So Irene and colleagues.
I propose we lose some weight in the tables and come together because I can't see everyone, and my back is to the door, and I have a problem with that. So can we do it?
What we can do is have you move to the other side, if you wish.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do that. So we'll continue here. If we can just get our team to move over to that other side, would be great. Yeah, grab your name tag. We're also.
You got my name tag? Thank you. Sorry.
No, that's good. We also
Well, we're
have
talking
our.
about inclusive spaces. This is
Yeah.
a good ask.
We also have cameras and we want to make sure to pick up everybody. So
What?
we have cameras in the stream, but we're good because that will pick them up here.
Perfect. Okay, good. I know you two are the best people to have, for real. I know nobody can come after me.
Okay.
There. Now I feel we're a little closer.
Thank you for suggesting that. Okay.
Sorry, this is how we roll.
It's absolutely wonderful. Thank you for actually just sharing your needs. Yeah, it's fantastic. I love it. President Margell, thank you for pausing. So we may honor that request.
Yes.
All right, Irene, please, thank you.
Thank you. So good evening, and it is a pleasure to be in front of you once again. And joining me today are members from our Kent Educators of Color Network team. So we have Miss Jo, Miss Tamara, also known as Miss T, Miss Andrea, and Mr. Brett.
I'll do your slides.
So our mission under Goal 4 is investing in a diverse workforce and inclusive workspace cultures. So this is to create affinity-based opportunities that promote the retention of our Black, Indigenous, and people of color, so our BIPOC employees. So we began engaging in the work of affinity groups about 1.5 years ago now, identifying the groups that did the affinity-like work in the Kent School District. We found that the Kent Educators of Color Network already had a structure and a model around affinity groups that was working. So at the beginning of this year, we entered a partnership with our Kent Educators of Color Network. They attend our new employee orientations, and we will continue to set up measurable goals. So next, I will go through the work that is in progress and the work that we hope to complete this spring. So the members of the Kent Educators of Network team join us for new employee orientations, and this is both for certificated and for classified staff, where they speak to new hires about the wonderful work that they do. So when they meet, and what are the topics that are discussed during those meetings. This is really nice because it helps our new employees connect with current staff, put a name to a face, get access and resources at the same time, and at the same time help promote the Kent Educators of Color Network. So basically these slides from new employee orientation, we share all of these slides with our new employees so they are able to go back through the slide deck and they have it for their remaining of the time that they're here with us. So the Kent Educators of Color, they have added QR codes with resources to these slides. Again, they have the teacher toolkit that are being held here in the boardroom. So it already gives our new employees some resources, someone to connect to as well. So the next step is going to be to create a site in our staff link. So the previous slides, as I mentioned, are shared with new hires, but the goal is to have a site to guide both new and existing employees. So that's a conversation that we had. How about for the existing employees that haven't had that opportunity to meet with the Kent Educators of Color yet? So the site would house resources, have information on membership, how to join or create an affinity group, as well as contact information. So the team would have a Kent School District email as well, and we're going to be planning a team photo so that we have that on our site as well. So last year, the Human Resources Department sponsored the registration for 15 staff members to attend the Journey Towards Liberation training at the University of Washington. The goal was to continue to learn about work around affinity groups, increase awareness, build partnerships, increase membership, and expand the group. This year, the theme is Our Liberation is Tied at Highline College, and the goal was to increase attendance by 5 staff members. I am happy to announce that we will be increasing that number by 10. So we have a total of 25 participants who will be attending the 2025 convening on February 8th. This will include 14 staff members and 11 administrators. Last year, with 15 staff members, we were one of the largest groups at the convening, and other staff members from other districts, surrounding districts, noticed. They noticed that this is work that is important for KSD. Aside from the learning, the Kent School District staff members that attended were able to engage in conversations with other colleagues that they might not necessarily have an opportunity to work with. They networked and, yes, even recruited. So the members of the Kent Educators of Color Network team are all about the work. We have Ms. T and Ms. Andrea here, who are great examples of the staff who are members of the Kent Educators of Color Network team, as well as staff at Mill Creek. They are leading the work around street data at their school. The Kent Educators of the Color Network members care about the work and are champions around leading conversations on instructional practices which create conditions for students to be successful. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to Ms. T and Ms. Andrea to add a little bit more about this work that they're doing at Mill Creek.
All right, good evening, everybody. We're so glad to have this opportunity. I kind of wish I had that one, but that's okay. To join you all again. If you haven't experienced a Team Tamara and Andrea moment, this is what it looks like. It's a lot like this, but there's a lot of common care and love, and especially for our community of learners and our community of educators and the larger community of the Kent School District. T and I had this fabulous opportunity to bring this professional learning opportunity to Mill Creek Middle School through our partnership with Dr. Rebecca Kim. T and I had just picked up the book Street Data, and it really spoke to us and spoke to the importance of centering marginalized learners. But then we thought about it too in the frame of reference of marginalized educators. What would happen if we took the opportunity to take what we learned from that book and apply it to the educators in our district, right? Like, if you speak to the people at the margins, you're gonna learn. I am maybe speaking just because I'm biased here. I know.
It's fine. We like bias.
I know. But I think it's, like when you center those farthest from having opportunities to elevate their voice, you're gonna learn things that you might find like in common with them, or you might find the solutions that you're looking for, right? I think many of us woke up a couple weeks ago sort of afraid of like what's gonna happen, because that feeling or that sensation is completely new and alien to you because you've not been in that situation before. But you know what? You share space and you work with people who experience that every day. And so elevating the voices of your BIPOC teachers not only provides a safe space for BIPOC educators to work together, to support each other, but it also opens it up to the greater community at large, showing that this is not something that is not that you are not able to overcome, but is through that partnership, through that community, through elevating that voice, that you're actually able to get to the task at hand. And for us, and that is creating conditions for our students to be successful in the classroom. T, do you want to talk about your experience here?
Yeah, we were just trying to find ways that would provide PDs that were really, really important, that got to the heart of what we are about, and we are about people. We also realize that there are systems that have been in place that are archaic and needs to be dismantled. In order for us to do that, though, we have to have something to backfill and have a solution for. We've heard a lot as community members, but then also as educators. How do we really do this work that is relevant? And it was, why aren't we talking to our kids? Why aren't we talking to our staff members? Why aren't we asking them, what do you need in order to thrive? At the end of the day, what we're doing is trying to create a space where we can give tools that they will become successful citizens in our society. And in order for us to do that, we need to have space where they can share their stories. And we listen. We don't judge, no. We listen, and then we create a framework that we can give it to them. And this may seem maybe different. Maybe it wasn't taught in teachery school. But I am letting you know that everything isn't taught in school. Sometimes you have to learn, and you have to share, and you have to incorporate it into some form of education as well. We have to really tap into the holistic person. But this work is not done. It is not over. It wasn't a 5-week stint, and what are you gonna do now? And then never go back to it. Our next goal was to really dig deep and unsilo ourselves and reach out to more stakeholders, and that is union members, district leadership, and other educators. And I think we're onto something. As a collective, we're onto something. It wasn't just us. We don't have big brains like that, but we do. And I'm excited to see what our data is going to really tell us when we allow Mill Creek to shine in this context. Yeah. I'm excited.
I know.
Our kids are awesome. Did you hear half of them were here? Those are our babies.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Tianandra. So I'll pass it on over to Ms. Dumlow.
Excellent, Irene. Thank you so much, Kent Educators of Color Network, for coming and for sharing how you are supporting the strategic plan and this priority initiative. It is absolutely critical that we also hear from your voice. And it's really important for the superintendent and for really our board to kind of see the through line between the work that you are doing and how that's tied to the strategic plan. So with that, I would love to pass it over to Superintendent Bella.
No, thank you. I want to take a moment just to thank you again for being here. I remember the last time you were here and echo President Margill's invite. Let's not just have this the last time. We need you here. We need to keep hearing your voice. We need to keep hearing about how it is impacting, I wrote it down, Ms. T, the rest of the, you said a word called unsilo ourselves. I love that. It is the great stuff that's happening with our affinity groups. We're learning from each other, We're learning from our students, our staff, is what I heard. And so we have to have you back. We need you back. And so I wanted to say thank you, and I wanted to turn it over to President Margell for any questions they might have.
Thank you very much for being here tonight and for being frequent faces at our board meetings. It means a lot to us to be able to hear. One of the things that I heard from our students that I hear reflected also in your comments today is the importance of seeing yourself in your school. And I think that reflects also seeing yourself in your teachers in your school, and the idea that, you know, being able to keep our BIPOC community as teachers, and while it's not just the color of your skin or the gender, it does make a difference to have a diverse community of teachers with a diverse community of students, and so I love hearing that. I also really loved the comment of relevant solution-based work, and so just what we're hearing, very, very actionable items from our students and getting that information and that support from our teachers. So thank you very much. What I would like to ask a little bit more is, could you take me down the path of what's next? So we get data. What's next?
There you go, it's green.
Suspect. I want to give an opportunity for others who are part of this group to speak, because it's just not the TNA show. But really what we have is a strong core group of people who have been doing this work for years. And so I want if you guys could speak, I can answer it, but y'all do better.
Do better. What's next? I think for me as an AAC, Ally Accomplice Co-Conspirator, I think it's really, really important to build more of the resources that educators need that they didn't get in teacher school, especially when it comes to having conversations about race, gender identity, sexual orientation. We have to be very well equipped to have those conversations. Doesn't matter the grade level. I think continuing to break down hierarchical structures so that we have leaderful and mindful, actionable things happening as a collective rather than top-heavy. That sort of thing is always just ripe for more animosity. And so that what we model and what we do as chosen family is exactly that. We make sure that we're out there doing the leaderful work so others can see how that looks, and it doesn't matter your title. And I think also in terms of things that are next, I mean, we've got brilliant ideas all the time. I'd love to see our team put on more professional development. I'd love it if that could be a full-time thing, to be honest. I would absolutely love that. To take the things that we've already created and having that in some sort of database or classes that educators can sign up through the district versus separately through union activities. I think that's going to reach a wider audience and give those tools that we are collectively creating and putting together as well. I'm sure I've got a million others, but I'll let Brett answer too.
For me, what's next is injecting the system with action to chase after the good stuff that we just talked about. So if students should we all agree students should see themselves reflected in their staff, then we ought to be chasing after that with action at whatever level we can, whether that's hiring educators of color, retaining educators of color, whether it's pushing affinity spaces into smaller cadres into buildings, and even within buildings into smaller spaces within buildings. The work we do is grassroots. Like we talk all the time, it's about building relationships and building communities, small communities that grow and blossom into communities that actually are creating change. And so if we can plant these seeds in different places with the help of people high up in the system who can inject action into the system, then this is going to grow and spread. And so I want to speak to the fact that as a Black educator, I've been educating in this district since 2001. And I've been either at Mill Creek or Kim Meridian that entire time. Most of the time I've been at Kim Meridian, for the majority of the time I've been at Kim Meridian, most of the time I'm only one of maybe a handful, 3. Right now, I'm one of 2 Black educators in the building, certificated. And we've had, people come and go, but that come and go is part of that retention that we talk about. And we're not retaining our educators of color. And so if we have spaces where, I joined the Educators of Color Network 5 years ago, and it's one of the best things that's happened to me as a person, but also for my career as an educator. And that I feel now, since then I joined, just energized to go out and really do this work. And so if there are people who are wandering in and out of our district as educators of color who couldn't find this space or didn't know about it and weren't able to connect, then they go off and they're great somewhere else when we need them to be great here in one of the most diverse districts in the country. So it's pretty ridiculous that our staff in 2025 does not reflect our student population in most cases. I think Mill Creek's kind of a one-off there. There just happens to be a strong contention of educators of color, but that should be replicated across the district, in my opinion. And so again, to me, what's next is people at your level injecting action into the system that you have, frankly, control over.
Thank you for your thoughtful answers. And I'm sorry, I just saw you picking up, and I didn't want to cut off
Do
thoughts.
this one? I think I can actually do this one.
Ooh.
And so I think just to support what Joe and Brett said, like what's next, they gave, I would love to see those things happen. But I know sometimes when a really amazing idea lands on us, there's like this want to get it done really quickly. And I know for the work of affinity groups, that work has to be slow. And then I think last time when we were here, we spoke about how slow this work actually is. It started maybe 3 or 4 years ago when Irene attended roadmap sessions for other school districts rolling out the affinity groups. It also took maybe 1.5 years of Irene and Damon just really leaning in and really establishing a relationship and trust with the Kent Educators of Color Network. We didn't make it easy for them at all. But they were patient, they were persistent, and because of that, we have this partnership now that we hope will grow into something amazing. But I just want to caution us to not dive in all the way. Invite all your stakeholders in when you consider these actionable items that Joe and Brett mentioned, because the work of centering humanity is long. And to value all the educators of color in our district, we have to give it time. And we really have to listen to all the ways in which we can support them. It can't just be, we're checking off all these things, these are all of our priorities. No, we might have to pause a little bit, but the work will get done because we're dealing with human beings who have different lived experiences, and each of their voices matter in coming up with solutions that work best for educators in our district as a whole.
Thank you, Andrea. And I just wanted to add one more piece to the what's next. So within the conversations that we have, we've spoken about stakeholders, and you have educators, but one of the items that we also talked about was our administrators, right? Especially for that retention piece. And that's where the convening last year, we had 4 administrators that attended. This year, we have 11. We need to get our administrators also, those opportunities to be able to learn more, get those resources, be in community together, be in learning in community together. So it's, again, we started with a smaller group, and then it's like, okay, who else are we missing? Our administrators, okay, let's get them in there. And when Damon sent out the invitation, it was a short notice, but it quickly grew, like I mentioned, from 4 to 11, just on the administrator side.
Very much appreciated. Thank you. So I'm going to go the opposite way we went last night. So Director Clark.
In just looking at communities within buildings, as those people interchange, the hard part is getting the time to actually have those conversations. And is there anything, are there opportunities during the Wednesday students are gone times that you get to actually communicate?
I think there is, but you need to be intentional when you plan that. It can't just be like, oh no, there's a fire, let's all come together and take it out, And so time is hard, but it's an investment. It's a healthy investment. It gets in front of a lot of problems that could come up when you don't invest that time. And especially when you're working collectively with people in different content areas, different struggles, having those intentional conversations. There are some people that bring solutions when you can sit down and have it. You should not ever be struggling alone when you're working with adults, but you shouldn't be struggling alone when you're working with adults within a building. Absolutely not. So it's the time. So my suggestion would be to prioritize the directives that are going down, so our admins at individual buildings have the opportunity to assess what their buildings need, and they're able to really ask their teachers or their paras or their staff members, what do you need to belong here? What do you need to thrive here? We don't need another PowerPoint presentation on SEL directed by people who are not in buildings. I need an SEL presentation on how to deal with my building and the things that we're going through so we can continue to be a strong collective for these students.
Okay, thank you.
And can I just add a little bit? I know Brett mentioned that at KM, their student population is basically a grown-up version, like a bigger version of Mill Creek. Yet, your educator of color to student of color ratio doesn't reflect ours. And for just talking about Mill Creek, I think it's through this collective that Miss T and I are a part of. While we don't have dedicated time on Wednesdays to meet as affinity groups, through our ability to be really responsive and relational with each other, we've practiced that through our collective and through our chosen family, we're able to do what we need to support our educators of color at Mill Creek. It might not look like a formal sit down, you've got 20 minutes on a admin-directed Wednesday, but it's enough to know that this teacher needs this support. And I think that is part of the magic and why we're still able to keep a really a workforce that reflects our student population. we take it upon ourselves just because we care that much about our colleagues and we care that much about our students, but it should be supported by intentional time.
Thank you very much. Director Cook?
Yeah, so the only thing I would have to say on this is I don't want this to be put on our educators to get this resolved. This is something that the administrators of the district, us as a board, and basically everyone that's in charge, right, needs to take this to heart, I think. I think we need to look at it and figure out how we can make these things happen and not put it on the employees themselves to give us those answers, because that's a lot to ask of a person. To go in and say, what is it you need? Well, how do they know what they need if they've never seen it, right? And that's where I feel like we can do a lot better, is by seeking experts in these spaces to then help guide us toward the direction that we want to go. Now, of course, this is all just my own opinion, but I really do believe that DE&I is something that is an asset for our district. The fact that we have such a diverse population, we should be trying our darndest to show our children that we are teaching here in the Kent School District that we see them and that we want them to see themselves in those that are leading us and those that are teaching them. And that's where I think we really need to focus, because it's something that, and it's not going to be easy. You know, it's not something that we can fix in a single meeting like this. It's something that we need to be intentional about, that we need to focus our efforts on and make it a top level priority. Make it at the same level that we take security or something else that's vital to our district, right? And that's just where I am with it. I think it's something that we really need to somehow come up with a cadence that will allow for the progress that we want to see.
Can I respond to that?
Of course.
Thank you so much. I liked how the sense of urgency in elevating this work. I really appreciate that comment, but also at the same time, you can't remove us from that work. Yes, this work is important in many, many communities, but we're not talking about those communities. We're talking about the Kent School District. Who knows the district better than your BIPOC educators, right? And so I think that's what we're trying to get across, is that you need to center not only your BIPOC educators, but also your educators who belong to the LGBTQIA+ community. You also need to center your differently abled educators. There are so many spaces, so many different educators that you need to center, and it would be disingenuous to us and our work to bring in people who don't know our needs. It's not hard to ask us a question like, what do you need? We'll gladly answer that question, right? We just need to be asked. We need to be a partner, a thought partner. We need to have a seat at the table. But yes, make it a priority, but don't forget, like, who's doing the work here? Yeah.
And I'm just going to chime in. I'm going to chime in for one thing. I understand the hierarchy of leadership, but what you're not going to do is expert what I need without asking. What you need to do is listen to what I'm saying and provide the space and the resources for me to thrive. I do not need the school board members or anybody in leadership to tell me what I need to thrive. I need you to give me the tools I need to thrive, whatever that looks like, and we need to do that for our students. So if you can please remove the hierarchy in the ask, we're gonna take this slow and easy. No, we're gonna take this slow and intentional. Okay, I do not want to see this become a system thing, and we're gonna system what they need. And I am left going, I'm not getting what I need, but everybody else is going home like, that was great. We just gave Miss T what she needed. No. So respectfully, I don't need an expert to come in and tell me what I need to thrive. Give me what I need to thrive. I will tell you when you ask me.
Sorry, is it okay if I respond now? Sorry, I want to make sure everyone had their say first. I think maybe my words weren't correct, because I did not mean that in any way. My thought process on this is not putting it on you to figure it out on your own and then just waiting for you to tell us what it is. What I meant by that is getting experts that would do that work with you, that will come to you and figure that out, that already have an idea of how this can be expedited in the best way possible, and finding those people to then come to you and say, what is it that we need? And what's the most expeditious way of getting there? And how can we make this an inclusive place for all? And what does it look like when we go from where we're at today to where we're at tomorrow, then 6 months from now, 2 years from now, and 10 years from now? And how do we make those progressions happen in the fastest way possible, but also in a way that is not going to harm the learning that's necessary for our students? And so, and I apologize if I came across as saying that we would do this in a top-down way. That isn't what I meant. The way that I would envision this would be that we would seek experts in this space that could facilitate working with the individuals that want to be a part of it and are interested in helping with this work. But I don't want it to be an expectation. I don't want our BIPOC, our lesbian and gay and other individuals, our disabled youth, our disabled people like myself, to be the person that has to lead this. I don't want them to be the one that has to always come out and say, I'm going to come and help you fix you guys, because that's not your job. Now, if you want to, I want you in the meeting. I want every part of everything you have to say in every meeting that we have. But I don't want it to be where we expect you to add this to your already incredible workload as a staff member here. And I guess that's where I'm coming from. So hopefully that makes a little more sense.
I think it does make a little bit more sense. And yes, I think I just want to sort of, I'm a trainer for WEA, we do TPEP, and with the new TPEP, it's very strength and talent and treasure based. And oftentimes, in order for us to have it click in our educators' minds, is we use this saying that half of your curriculum walks through your door, right? You're the expert on your content area, but the other half of your content or your curriculum are the students in your classroom. They are the experts, right? Mm-hmm. And so maybe what I am not hearing is that, hold on, let me just pause real quick. I don't think we're asking for outside experts to help us. What we are asking for is for our district to link arms with us, walk alongside us as we work on a solution together. I think that maybe that's what you're trying to say, Director Cook, and I'm just maybe not understanding it the way you intended, but the way that it landed on me is how why I'm responding this way. We're telling you what we want, and we're telling you what we need. We're also saying we don't want outside experts helping us. Mm-hmm. We are the experts here.
There are so many gems in this district.
Mm-hmm.
We don't
right.
need.
And so maybe this is the exercise in listening. We're saying this, but then maybe Maybe the disconnect is me and my communicating this. I don't know what it is, but we're telling you what we need. It sounds like y'all are ready to support us and understand that this work is really, because it matters so much, it's going to take a lot of time. And there needs to be an investment, and it's going to work at the speed of trust, right? And we're starting to build that. We've built that with HR. Now we're ready to sort of build it with another group of people. And so we're so thankful to be at these tables and having conversations, and you guys inviting us back time and time again. And we're just asking that you elevate our voices, which you have, and that you listen, and actually listen to the words that we're saying, and not write a story on your own for what we as educators of color need.
If I may, I hear this with a 16-year-old and a 14-year-old at home, and their frustration is we keep on telling people what we want, but it doesn't happen. And we want to partner with teachers. We want to partner with administration, from the student point of view. And so how does that then actually come to fruition? And what I think we are privileged and have the unique opportunity to, and I very much hear you, of walking alongside, but I also think that there's something about true leadership is really getting the right people and then letting them flourish, and then just giving them support, and more than anything, just getting the roadblocks out of the way. And so I hope that you hear tonight that you have a group of people here that very much are listening and very much know that we don't have all the answers yet. We're still asking. We will continue to ask, and that we're very much here to get those roadblocks out of the way to let our students and our educators really flourish in the spaces that they have. So thank you very much. Do you mind if I transition a question over to, tell me a little bit more about what you're looking to get from the street data? I'm interested in hearing more about that.
I just feel like there's like two conversations going on, and my ADHD is like, whoa, let's go.
I think you're doing good if there's only two going on.
I really would love to bring Dr. Kim up because she has been working alongside us as well. I mean, she has the high-level thinking, and we just have the vibe, right? And we are collaborating. She is collaborating with some of the Ken educators of color to create a framework from like admin, well, she's doing admin, but downwards, all the rest of us.
Yep.
All the rest of us.
Happy to have her come up.
And so what does that look like? And so why don't you use your words? Yeah.
Can you repeat the question?
Sure. Just interested in hearing about the street data. I saw that on the roadmap of what's being worked on right now, and just interested in kind of just having that flesh out a little bit more. Tell me what was encompassed in that, and what are we looking to get from that?
Okay. Tell me to stop talking when, because this is
You have 7 minutes.
This is a very strong area of passion. I think that this is a opportunity for us to systemize an equity strategy without over-systemizing it.
Mm-hmm.
And going at the speed of trust. I appreciate that Andrea said that. I was invited and privileged to be in the space with this wonderful esteemed colleagues since last year, and we started talking about street data and talked about the importance of it being an equity transformation cycle. And I think oftentimes we say that when we do surveys or we do listening sessions or home visits, those are absolutely important. But when we define them as street data, that's a little tricky, because when you look at the authors of street data and their design process, it's really deliberate. It's tapping voices at the margin. It could be students, it can be staff, it could be families. And you're taking that data with a real deliberate lens, and you're targeting it around a specific question that you want to answer. Why do we see that students who identify by a certain race group are disproportionately disciplined? And then we might want to gather additional data around their sense of belonging. You recently heard that we're using Panorama. And so it's data like that that we triangulate, and then we try to do some root cause analysis work. So the concept of street data, so I was invited to be in this space to do a 4-part series, and we just met for an hour before the session with their planning team, and I was invited to help co-facilitate the process so that we can take the 30-plus people who signed up for this 4-part series that's going to end in June. We're going to do shared learning. We're going to look at high-level data at the elementary, middle, and high school. And then we're going to spend time building an equity-centered inquiry question. Who is the targeted student group, and what is the question that we're trying to answer? It could be around discipline disproportionality. It could be around sense of belonging. And then the really important piece here then is that we take that data, we interpret what we think it means, and we go back to the students that we heard from. Are we on the right track of what we interpreted you said here when you talked about sense of belonging? And then you go through this part where you reimagine what their experience would be like if they increase their sense of belonging. From there, then you move to action. So that is the equity transformation cycle. So this group of leaders, through the educator colors, thank you, KEOCN, they will be lead learners. We also have, for our second year, a Kent School District design team who have been learning from the authors. I actually just made contact with the author today. I'm kind of a groupie. I'm in my 3rd year of learning from these authors to see what they might be able to do to bring that learning to the entire system. Because when we look at our satellite data metrics of our strategic plan goals, we need to have a system design process around street data collection as it pertains to those 4 goals. President Margell, you asked about goal 1. Where does street data come in when we talk about our literacy priority initiative? And then we did a work session. And it's experiences like that and the inquiry questions that come up where we need to take our calibrated learning of street data and then think about how those metrics can live in the metrics of those 4 strategic plan goals. So there's great bodies of leadership networks that are happening that are leaning into the learning, and we want to bring those all together to say, how will this inform system design and process around a true equity transformation cycle as it pertains to street data? That was really long, but.
And I just want to add on to that. So by having the Kent Educators of Color Network at our new employee orientations, they get invited to those sessions that they're leading right at the beginning. So they've provided a QR code. So right off the bat, if you're a teacher, if you're a para, if you're a classified member, you can sign up and attend those. What we're trying to do as far as like what's next, that website is to, and giving them a KSD email is to, we're right now able to announce it to our new employee orientations. What's next? Being able to announce that to a broader all of our employees, not only our new employees, and have a place where it's not just in the slide deck that they get, but actually on the website where we can send out an email, a link saying, hey, don't forget, this upcoming March, I forgot when the next one is, but March, we're gonna have our next session, so here's a QR code again if you would like to sign up.
I love it. Thank you. Thank you. Any last question? No. Director Cook, any last question?
No, I don't have any. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just wanted to again say thank you, and I know we're going to be doing this again. Thank you, Dr. Kim, for coming up and sharing not only what we're doing systemically, because that is what Andrea and our team is talking about. How do we systematize this? And I'll leave us all with this. We need to make sure we move with the speed of trust. That's across the system, not just put it on one, but put it on all of us, and let's link arms, all right? Thank you.
I feel like we need a T-shirt made about work at the speed of trust. Kent Ridge can make the T-shirts in their spirit, yes. No, I love it. So, thank you. I think that really does highlight the partnership that we have and that we are so lucky to have, not just the group, but the individuals that choose to participate that really make the group. So, thank you very much for Kent Educators of Color Network. Okay, that's a really long name. But it's a good group. Great, thank you very much. It is 6:59 and our meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much for this evening.